we embrace impermanence, and why is it so important? This past few days, there's been a tragic loss of a superstar or former superstar sportsman. Gone well before his time, and there's major mourning, and as I get older, these occurrences seem to affect me more profoundly. This fragility of life, and such tragedies make for a stark reminder for me to embrace impermanence, and that's my message in this video today. And I'd like to give you a kind of basic guide and practical guide on how to embrace impermanence as a way of advancing your enjoyment of life going forward. Nhat Hanh said, "It's not impermanence that makes us suffer. What makes us suffer is wanting things to be permanent when they are not." With so many of my hypnotherapy clients, for example, they firmly believe that nothing is changing in their life. And it feels that way sometimes, it seems that way. And yet for many of us, sometimes it feels as if nothing changes. Yet at other times it feels as though nothing stays the same. Life is volatile and we attempt to control the uncontrollable. In truth, nothing's permanent, and yet so many of us seem to be in pursuit of something as if it is permanent. If life were to stay exactly the same, many might not see the point. Life is transient by nature, it's impermanent. We grow, we evolve, we embrace impermanence, We desire often to hold on to things that make us feel good. We try to make them permanent. Marriage is a classic example. We cling on to early romance instead of understanding the relationship as something that is developing, that's growing, that's changing. And this is not offering up a recipe to the perfect marriage, but to highlight that when we embrace impermanence, we get to embrace the relationship in a different and wonderful way. And the same is true of our relationship with virtually everything else that we have in our lives. Our work, our other roles in life, our friendships, ourselves. So instead we shift our focus and desire to simply enjoy feeling good, basking in feeling good while remaining unattached to what it is that makes us feel that way. It's that attachment that so often holds us back and limits us. Once you come to accept that there's no stopping change and you may or may not be in control of that change, you learn to let go. When you recognize and stop trying to control the uncontrollable, you embrace impermanence. And truly everything and everyone is in a state of impermanence, including the people and the things that you love. You are impermanent too, of course. When you choose to let go and embrace that impermanence, instead of digging your heels and resisting, you gain an increased sense of internal stability, a clearer view, you gain perspective. And that's liberating. It doesn't mean you have to settle for what you don't want in life. It means that you have the power to rise above what feels difficult or challenging. Letting go enables you to recalibrate your perspective so you can move more effectively, creatively, and mindfully through your present moments. The Dalai Lama says, awareness and impermanence and appreciation of our human potential gives us a sense of urgency that we must use every precious moment. I love that. So I wanted to speak about some ways that you can incorporate into your life in order that you can sort of embrace impermanence. And firstly, consider reframing positively. W. Somerset Maugham said, "Nothing in the world is permanent, and we are foolish when we ask anything to last. But surely we're still more foolish not to take delight in it while we have it." So life's too short to waste time desiring change, but then not stepping up to make it happen. If you want a new career, research, train, educate yourself, seek advice, get guidance, and consider taking some action steps to begin one. Want to change your attitude but think people will react differently to you, then, of course they're going to, but start immediately and change your negatives into positive if possible. This will be a change that creates plenty of growth in your life. And these things are a lot easier to do when you adopt a positive mindset or a progressive attitude, of course. But much of the research in positive psychology it does tend to demonstrate how impermanence bolsters positive well-being. So in 2006, for example, Wallace and Shapiro's research showed that living with balanced mental states founded in impermanence counteracts the negative cycles of rumination that many people suffer from, just as a single example. Secondly, have realistic expectations. In so many of our life's circumstances, we have these really high expectations for our family, our career, our marriage, and they're idealistic and fantastical, and we expect each to remain constant and last forever. But remember, nothing necessarily lasts forever. When you set reasonable expectations and don't expect or demand a particular outcome, you're better able to manage any changes that do come your way, that are going to come your way. Unreasonable expectations of life, however, will often be met with loss, disappointment, or pain. It's good to dream big, and I encourage it, and to live big in response to those dreams, but being sober and realistic about the impermanence of it will serve you wonderfully well. I think the best way I've ever encountered with regards to something practical to do with regards to this is following the Stoic negative visualization process. I'll put a link or a write-up it's somewhere on this page, or you can message me for a link if you can't find it, because I put a process of how to do that together on my blog. And start small. Create changes by doing things differently each and every day of your life, and create an environment of change, a culture of adaptability and development in your life. The change that you bring upon yourself does not have to be big. It can be something small, such as, ordering a different dish off the menu, for example, taking a new route to work, or switching up your routine at the gym. Adding something new or adjusting something in your routine helps you open the door to more potential, helps you feel more fulfilled. It also builds your confidence and your ability to embrace impermanence, and adapt to change. Have you ever felt stuck in your life? I know many of us have, but maybe you felt upset because you couldn't get yourself out of a situation that you could not control. Maybe you felt stuck or lost because you felt too comfortable and you were afraid of the unknown. Change and the unknown go hand in hand. In the words of Leo Babauta, make it so easy that you can't say no. So, practice change and it becomes something that you become skilled at, you can excel and move with. And accept change. You may even desperately try to prevent and stop change from happening in your life by trying to forge ahead, even in futile situations. But instead of resisting, allow change to unfold and try to understand what's transforming and why. Circumstances won't necessarily turn out the way you want them to, and that's perfectly okay on occasions. Embracing the situation can help you deal with the change effectively. And make the necessary shifts in your life in order to embrace further change and help you move forward after change and events. When I teach my clients and students, for example, basic mindfulness and acceptance exercises, they often begin with focusing upon the breathing. And I'll use a very classic expression, watch the breath. Let it happen all by itself. Just observe it happening. Don't try to change it, but also don't try to stop it from changing, because sometimes things change just by being observed. And that kind of phraseology that's used in those sessions, it encapsulates the tone of acceptance and patience that I'm talking about here. So next up, actually learn and think about relishing change. A typical example of change and the fear of the unknown is being in an unhealthy relationship. Now, perhaps you shouldn't be in this relationship for whatever reason, but but you stay in it anyway, and why is that? perhaps it's fear that's crippling us, causing us to stagnate. I mean, as a side note, stagnation is also impermanent, but not necessarily in a very desirable way. But it might be fear of the unknown, fear of not being friends with that person, fear of being alone forever, fear of financial repercussions. But being positive about exiting that relationship, for example, could help us accept and be positive about change. Being excited to accept something new then helps it disperse more happiness into our lives. And this doesn't mean that we simply jump out of relationships the first challenge that we encounter. Not at all. We've got to continue to seek opportunities for it to develop and advance as much as possible. But we don't stay in it out of fear alone. We ought not. We want to relish the change, and that's how we continue to embrace impermanence. But then, recognize that you are growing, and recognize that you're growing stronger. When you accept, embrace, and learn from change, you inevitably grow stronger. The ability to continuously accept change allows you to become as solid as a rock in the midst of a violent storm all around you. Even if you feel afraid, change becomes your greatest teacher, but only if you give yourself permission to learn from it. Pema Chodron once wrote, impermanence is a principle of harmony. When we don't struggle against it, we are in harmony with reality. Spot on, So it embraced impermanence. I think you'll be pleased you did. Life does move on. Look back only to see how far you've come on occasions. Sure, take a moment to enjoy some nostalgia, to miss people and places, but you don't want to necessarily dwell there, or you run the risk of becoming a ghost yourself. The fact that you are here, wherever that is for you right now, is because perhaps you have more to accomplish, more to contribute. Dream big and feel into it. You've got nothing to lose and everything to gain when you embrace the impermanence. That's it for this video. Do subscribe to this channel. Do go visit my college website for news of our classroom-based and online courses, as well as discover our members area, which is a paradise for hypnosis geeks. I send you my very best wishes. Goodbye for now.